Hi guys, Olive here today to talk to you about what I'm planning on reading in July 2024. I'm getting back to form here this summer with my reading and my filming, and I'm really excited about the books that I've picked out for the month of July. So, as usual, I will begin by talking about fiction. Very recently, I took a trip to the main branch of the Carnegie Library of Pittsburgh in the Oakland neighborhood where the University of Pittsburgh is. It was a little day date with my husband, and then we went out and got some lunch afterwards. It was really nice. But while I was at the library, I got a big stack of books, as you do, and I'm hoping to work through those over the course of the summer. And one of the ones I picked up is Headshot by Rita Bullwinkle. This is a debut novel. It is on the shorter side. It stars 8 young female boxers who are all traveling to Nevada to compete against one another to be named the best in the country. If you have followed my channel over the past few years, then you probably know I've become very invested in sports books, and this one I have wanted to read ever since it came on my radar. A digital arc on my Kindle that I'm hoping to complete during the month of July is called Coming Clean by Beth Usenis Johnson. The main character of this novel is a cleaning woman, and she agrees to let a photographer friend of hers use the houses that she cleans for a project that he's been working on. But as they're going around the houses that she cleans looking for items to use in the photographs, they discover things about her clients and connections between her clients that she didn't know before they started snooping. This one just sounded so interesting to me as I was surfing for new releases on Edelweiss. It came out earlier this year. I'm really excited to read it. I also have a couple of physical arcs from that so-called shame stack that hopefully I will knock out during the month of July. Speaking of residences, the first one is called The Apartment by Ana Menendez, which focuses on this old Art Deco building in Miami, Florida, and all of its inhabitants. As I said in that shame stack video, I am especially curious to read this one because I was just very briefly in Miami, Florida late last year, so I'm hoping this book will give off some of those great Miami vibes that I felt when I was there. The other physical arc I have on the menu for July is called Where Waters Meet by Zhang Ling. This book is all about how a daughter starts discovering some secrets hidden in her mother's backstory after her mother's passing. I was very excited to be sent this one. It was unsolicited, but I was still very happy to see it arrive on my doorstep, so it will be fantastic to just open this up and read it. I have just one more novel on my list for next month, and everything else I want to read is nonfiction, but the last novel I am very excited about. It is called At Loggerheads by Kristen Ness. This is a murder mystery, but our amateur sleuth in this mystery is a scientist who studies sea turtles. Someone is found murdered on the exact same day that a sea turtle is found dead on the beach, and I'm assuming they figure that those two events are connected because our scientist starts helping the detective who is investigating the murder, who is also her closest friend and her love interest in this novel. She starts helping him investigate that murder. I love murder mysteries. I love any books that deal with animals, as you know if you watch this channel, so this seemed directly up my alley. Plus, I felt like July, deep into the summer when I have the ocean, all things nautical on my mind, would be the perfect time to read this. And because of that, the first 2 nonfiction books on my TBR were also inspired by the sea. The first one is called The Sound of the Sea by Cynthia Barnett. This is a comprehensive history of seashells and the creatures who make them. This came out a few years ago. It has fantastic reviews. I know that by reading this, it's going to make me crave a trip to the beach, something terrible, but I'm willing to take that risk to learn some really cool and seasonally appropriate facts. I guess it might be a little bit of a stretch to say that this next book is nautical. It's sort of kind of nautical. It's connected to water-dwelling creatures, at the very least. It also just so happens to be my favorite nonfiction book. I want to reread it because I have not even touched it since I first read it in 2020 when it blew my mind. It's been a goal of mine this year to reread some of my favorite books. So I figured in the month of July, I would reread Why Fish Don't Exist by Lulu Miller. This book kind of defies description, but I'm going to try anyway. It is part memoir and part biography, and the period of the author's life that she's writing about, it was a very vulnerable period of time in her life. She had just made a really big mistake. She was kind of at a crossroads. She was looking for role models, essentially, when she heard about this really impressive taxonomist who fought against the forces of nature in order to complete his work. This made her initially enamored of him. She started to delve into the details of his life, where she discovered some very disturbing truths. I don't want to say any more than that because this book has so many twists and turns. Like, it rivals a thriller, in my personal opinion. Obviously, it won't have the same shock value for me since I've already read it. I'm going to go into this knowing what that reveal is, what all of those reveals are, but I am still just so excited to go back and experience this again. In a recent video I made in which I spoke about some of the best books I read during my short break from this channel, I talked about Moneyball by Michael Lewis, which I really, really enjoyed. I enjoyed it so much that it inspired me to put Michael Lewis's first book, Liar's Poker, on my July TBR. Unlike his later books, it seems like this one is going to have a very strong memoir element to it. This is about Wall Street in the 1980s. Michael Lewis worked at a firm on Wall Street as a trader, and then he worked his way up. So it does seem like it's going to be about his experience working for the firm, but then also more broadly, it's going to be about how the culture at this firm he worked at kind of represented the grander culture on Wall Street at this time and how often toxic it could be. This is the book that put him on the map. I've been wanting to read this for a long time. I will close out this TBR video by talking about my selections off of my 24 nonfiction books to read in 2024 list. The first one is The Glass Castle by Jeanette Walls. This is a very popular memoir about this author's unconventional childhood, and I put this one on that 24 nonfiction books list for two major reasons. The first one being that I read and reviewed on this channel her latest novel called Hang the Moon. I really enjoyed it, so it made me curious about this memoir, but also I feel like everybody on Earth besides me has read this book. I feel very left out. I am very late to the party. I'm sure it's just as good as everyone says it is, but I'll find out this month. The last book that I am looking to conquer during the month of July is one that I've been terrified of for quite some time. Not gonna lie about it, but because I just read Cultish by Amanda Montell during June, which I will talk about in my June wrap-up, it made sense to follow that book up with a read of Going Clear by Lawrence Wright, which is a book about Scientology. It's based on the author's own research, and it's also based on many interviews he did with former and current Scientologists. Everything I knew about Scientology before reading Cultish absolutely gave me the creeps, and now that I've read Cultish, I'm even more alarmed by it. So I'm sure I will be cringing the whole time that I read this, and if I truly want to be disturbed, I've also heard there's a documentary that I could chase this with. On that lovely note, those are all the books that I am planning to knock off of my grander TBR during the month of July. Let me know if you have thoughts on any of these books, if you've read them, if you like them, if you didn't like them, if you want to read them now that you've heard me talk about them. I'd love to hear any or all of that or any other more general comments or questions you have down in the comment section below. All the books I spoke about in today's video, as well as links to any other videos that I may have mentioned throughout this video, I will link all of those for you in the description box below for your clicking convenience. And at the very bottom of the exact same description box, you will also see links to everywhere you can find me around the internet, like my Goodreads, Instagram, Storygraph, all the places I'm the most active, in case you want to keep up with what I'm reading and doing right now. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.